Hello guys, welcome. This is Ritesh here. Welcome to our channel. Okay, here today this series is about OOP language in C++. We are going to, one separate topic is the OOP. So in that OOP, what all features you have in OOPs? Those all features I'm going to implement over here in this entire series of OOPs. So this is here my first program is basically the basic concept of it, oops, where it is going to be used throughout the series, that is class. So here I'm going to talk about something related to class and objects. So for this class and object concept, you should have basic knowledge about C++. Basic in the sense like everything from if, for, while, do while, what all you have arrays, strings, your functions is important over here. So function is also going to be useful in this part. So if you know functions, you can go I mean go from this series. Like from the first video you will understand everything about oops. So let's see, I'll start with my first program based on class. So here I'll write one code stream.h hash, sorry, include conio.h. Okay, firstly you should know what is class. Class is helping me to wrap my contents in one entity. Like that two entity will be functions and variables. So now variables are basically variables like global variables. I'll tell you what is global variables. But you should know like class encapsulates everything inside it. Okay, so class is having two things, that is global variables and member functions. So it's two things I'm going to implement over here. So let's say I'll create one class. So class, I'll say class name as Sam. Keep habit of using this class's name in capital letter. Okay, so class sample. I'll press tab. Okay, now I'll do something over here. So wait, a comma b. I'm declared two variables. You'll see these things are not inside any functions. So these are basically global variables. Global variables are those variables which is declared inside the class. You can see over here it is declared inside the class and outside any function. So it's not inside any function. That means it is outside the function. Okay. So these are global variables. Now we will talk about specifiers for this, means where I can access these variables. It depends on the accessibility property that you provide. By default, you can see we didn't provide anything over here. We could have written public, but I didn't. So that means whatever I'll give, whenever I don't specify any specifier over here, that means it is by default private. Now I'll tell you what is private and public. Private means the variables which can be accessible um, by the member of the class, of the same class. Like A and B are two variables which are private. So who can access this? A and B can be accessed only by the sample members. Means whoever function is a member of sample, those functions can only access A and B variables. And if it is public, then anyone can access. It doesn't matter if that function is member of sample or not. Member means it's basically like it should be inside the sample. That's what my concern is. That is what we call as member. So let's say we'll begin with further coding. So I'll say public. Functions I will keep public over here because functions I want to call from outside. So basically it should be public. So public. I'll write one code over here. I hope you'll understand. Void set data. This is one function I have made. Okay, if you know what is parameterized function, I mean how to pass parameterize, how to use it, so this will be quite easy for you. So let's say I'll create a function set data which is taking two parameters. Okay, so this two parameter I'm going to initialize to my variable. So let's say a equal to x. A is what? A is a global variable, and who is accessing a? A is accessed by set data. So set data is member of class or not? Yes, it is because it's inside the class. So I'll write b equal to y. Can I access b? Yes, because b is a member of, oh sorry, b is accessed by set data and set data is a member of some class. Cool. Okay, one more important thing, whenever you create class, this class has to be terminated this way. Cool. Next, I'll create one more function over here, void display. So this display function is going to basically display this values of a and b. So I'll say cout a equal to, I'll display my a over here. It's quite easy. I don't think you need explanation for this. B equal to, sorry, and yeah. So the two variables have declared. Okay. So you can see these two functions basically we used to create what is that is display. This is something what you did in your basics. The set data and display. But you can see something new over here is a class. So class is doing nothing much over here. Class is just giving me you can say it's kind of it's giving me more securities, more privileges, or you can say to apply some constraints. Okay, so you saw over here that this variable uh, we didn't declare I mean specified anything, so it's private. So here you can see my a and b are I mean it's safe. No one, I mean, unauthorized functions cannot access it. Sorry. So here we are getting some benefits of keeping my data secure. So that's what the concept is. So set data can only access env and even display can access env because these both functions are a member of sample class. So let's say I'll create void main. So void main, whenever you create, it should not be inside the class. It should be always outside the class because main is not going to be a member of any class. Okay. Uh, Good. So clear screen. Create one more get switch. Okay, so here now what I'm going to do, I want to use all these things. What I want to use is I want to access display, I want to access the data. So how can I access this? So this things are basically, I mean these functions are basically a part of class. So that class name is sample, isn't it? So what we have to do is I'll just write sample. Sample means my class name. I'll create object of my class OP. I'll create object. Um, okay, I'll just clear you this thing. Sample is a class and OP is object. This is something we call as sample is my data type. Okay, now you'll say how data type? We didn't see. It's not in standard list. Sample is data type, but it's user defined data type. Means there are some data types which are inbuilt. Like I say int a. Can you see there are similarities between these two things? What are those similarities? I'll just explain you. Int is inbuilt data type and a is object of int. That means this is a variable which is acting same like int. That way only we have a sample data type. It's not inbuilt, it's user defined. Okay, and ob is like variable for that sample data type. Isn't it cool? So I hope you understood what I mean to say. So that way. So differences of just, I mean it's of user defined and primitive data type. Primitive means built in. Okay. Now I want to access this set data function. So how to access it? So okay, let me tell you what is an object in this case. I have created object of sample data type. I mean user defined data type. Object OP is a copy of my sample class. So yeah, I can say OB will have all those things whatever sample is having. So OB will have set data, OB will have A, OB will have B variable, OB will have display function. So now I want to access the properties. of OB. Let's say function variable of OB. So what I have to write is OB in my function name dot. I have to say set data. I want to call set data now. So set data, and here inside this I'll pass two values. Let's say 4 and 5, because you can see the set data function is taking two values over here. So that are that one is passed 4 has been passed to let's say x, and 5 has been passed to y. So there's an answer. Now simply I'll just call ob dot display because I said so. OB's A and B got 4 and 5, isn't it? So basically we are accessing data members of OB. So OB got 4 and 5 in its A and B. So when we say ob.display, ob is going to display the value of ob's A and B. So ob's A is having 4 and B is having 5. So that is only going to be displayed. So let's say we'll compile. Okay, you can see no errors. I'll just run this. Yes, you can see 4 and 5 is there. Okay, next. Uh, let's say I'll show you something over here. See, I'll try to access directly. I'll not use display function. What I'll do is I'll directly try to display A over here. So let's see, I'll display A. So how to access A? You did access functions set data like ob dot set data. So but similarly we can access variables also. So let's say ob dot A. I want to access ob dot A. I want to access right here B ob dot B. So let's see, can I access this directly, because I told you that it is private, so we won't be able to access. So let's see, if I compile this program, we can see two errors are there. What are the errors? A is not accessible and B is not accessible. That is why, because it is private. I'll discuss about this in detail in next video. So till then, you just understood what is the use of private. Okay, this way. So it will give access. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends also about this. Thank you.